Hey guys, welcome back to this week's Puller, as Josh would like to say.
What are we reading?
And to answer that, we are actually going to start this video off by telling you the laundry list of issues that we're going to cover in this one. So guys, please just sit back with a cold beverage, relax, put your earbuds on, whatever you got to do. But there's a lot of books to go over, and we're going to do them as quickly and as efficiently as possible. But first off, the list. Harley Quinn and Gossamer, number 1. House Amok, number 1. The Joker and Daffy Duck, number 1. Shattered Grid, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Shattered Grid, number 1. Lex Luthor and Porky Pig, number 1. Scarlet, number 1. Catwoman, Tweety, and Sylvester, number 1. And Beyonders, number 1. As you guys can see, it's going to be a lot of DC and a lot of independent stuff. DC had nothing come out this week. All they did was really release these Looney Tunes and DC crossovers, so that's basically all we got for you. And we're going to rip the Band-Aid off right from the very beginning and go over Harley Quinn and Gossamer number 1, which is Amanda Connor and Palmiotti. I can never remember Jimmy Palmiotti, which is the team that is usually on Harley Quinn. Josh, feelings on this one?
It's a waste of paper and a waste of ink.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. This book, I don't know how people read Harley Quinn and pick up Harley Quinn regularly. I could not tolerate reading her dialogue and the shit she says. I couldn't do it. I hate it.
There was nothing to the story other than just like a buddy tale, and it was just really, I just feel very I wasted a bunch of time on it.
Yeah, this is definitely a waste of space. Unfortunately, I know the stack that we've got here at the shop is going to be sitting on for a while, but I will say all of these DC Looney Tunes crossovers also have a small story in the back, and in this one, that is way better than the 20 minutes you're probably going to spend trying to decipher Harley Quinn's dialogue in the first story.
Yeah, it was hard to read. It took me a while.
Yeah.
It took me a long while to try to get through it. I understand that there's a fan base out there for Harley Quinn, but I used to like Harley Quinn, but I only liked Harley Quinn Paul Dini Harley Quinn and stuff. And
this book made me realize DC is making Harley Quinn the female Deadpool of their universe.
Yeah.
I can't stand it. I'm not a big fan of Deadpool comic books. This was even harder for me to read. I'm going to unveil this week's episode's new rating system. I'm giving this 0.5 Porky Bucks.
Holy shit balls, bro. 0.5 Porky Bucks right here too, bro.
All right, good. All right, we're going to move on to House Amok number 1 from Black Crown. You got Sembella and McManus on this. It's not a team I'm too familiar with, and it's really hard to find their wherever their credentials are in the book. So I'm just going with Sembella, McManus, and this was an interesting book. It's really gory. It's really weird that these girls are doing this thing with their family, and it's very grotesque, but it seems very normalized for them. And basically they're going to this place in Oregon where I've seen it online before, where you go to this place in Oregon and the axis or whatever seems really weird, so all this shit can happen that seems to defy the laws of physics.
Stand up straight.
Right.
You look at the house, it looks crooked, but when you stand in it, it's right.
Right. So they're doing that, and they see the gods of reality or something like that.
Yeah.
And when the gods of reality realize they can see this stuff, now they're after them. This family's kind of going across the country. They're getting out of Dodge, and I don't know. It's weird. I really couldn't make heads or tails of this book. But the thing is, even though I didn't really understand it, it was really well written, and it has my interest piqued. I almost have to know what happens in the next issue.
Yeah, I am so mixed on it because it's such a twisted story. It has this fun-loving kind of family,
Great family vibe
Great
to it,
family
yeah.
vibe. And there's something horrific going on behind the scenes that you can't see.
Yeah.
And it's just really odd. It reminds me as if you took a heartwarming kind of family, sitcom family, and you put it in a quiet place, and you just kind of overlap them or something. It's got
a little bit of a feeling of Get Out too.
Yeah, Get Out too, yeah.
Something about that where it's just in the back of your mind something is not right here, but everyone's kind of going on everything's fine. This is just very normal for us. There's a dad about to cut into some live dude's gut, and it's hey, how was your day at school?
Yeah, something about something taking a part of your soul and replacing it with a piece of metal.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
this thing has got me all sorts of
and then
weird.
You go through this whole light scene, and then you get to a dark scene as if it's it kind of deals with reality and stuff, but is a twisted book. I can't make heads or tails about it
I can't
either,
either.
and that's why I told you I wanted you to read it, because I'm like, maybe I'm just not reading this right.
No, it
and
was
comprehending it correctly.
It was tough, but it's just to understand what's happening is hard. But I think it's also intentional. Like I don't think it's just poor writing. I think it's intentional.
They don't
get
want you to know.
No, they want you to pick up the next book, and it's a smart tactic. And I definitely want to know what happens, so we will be ordering issue 2, just because if for any reason I need to know what happens in the next.
I know. That's the one thing I really enjoyed about this one is a lot of times when I read comics, you can kind of, I'm not trying to brag, but a lot of times I can kind of pinpoint where the comic book is going, and I can come it's like there's only 2 solutions here. It's either this or this, and this. I'm like, I have like 15 million different things that could be going on, and I cannot guess what's going to happen. I can't even really tell you what kind of book this is, other than like a horror genre kind of book.
Yeah, it's definitely weird. It's like a Jeff Lemire kind of meets X-Files type thing, that's about the best I can put it. The art is very minimalistic, but I think it works because it uses a lot of dark and drab, muted color tones and stuff like that. So you kind of get the feeling the artist is going for. The 2 little twins in this are adorable together, but only because I don't really know where the story's going. It's gonna hinder just issue 1's rating for me, but I'm gonna go straight down the middle. 2.5 Porky Bucks.
I'm right there with you. I'm giving it 2.5. I feel like that my grade would probably change, or my rate would probably change once I read an issue 2. But for an issue 1, when you think about it, it's like, yes, you did your job. I want to read it, but at the same time, some people don't get like that. Some people just go, okay, I'm confused, I don't like it.
Right, and I think this is one of those where you have to have some patience and see how the story unravels.
Exactly.
Which is going to be a detriment to a story that comes out of Black Crown IDW, which is not very well known.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to The Joker and Daffy Duck. This, it's goofy. It's not great. The writer is Lobdell and Cavalieri. Again, not a team I'm very familiar with myself, but I gotta say the art is phenomenal in here. I think the art's great. Brett Booth, he is the penciler. Oh wait, no, I don't know. There's also another little side story at the end, or a little second story at the end. The art's great in this. It starts off goofy. It's kind of goofy throughout. Basically, Donald Duck becomes a henchman for the Joker, and then he realizes he's kind of. What'd I say?
He said Donald.
Oh, whoops. Okay, Daffy, yeah.
Franchise, bro.
I know. Daffy becomes a henchman for the Joker, realizes he's a little bit in over his head and wants out. It's a fun little interesting read. It didn't do a whole lot for me, though.
Yeah, I agree. The story was kind of bland. I felt like it was an unneeded story. The main thing I came away with is the artwork is actually really great. I love the way they draw Daffy Duck. He looks like an actual duck.
Mm-hmm. That's something we should say about a lot of these. Like the renditions of these classic Looney Tune characters don't look the way you expect them to look. Kind of like when they did the Bugs Bunny and stuff like that, you know? Or Elmer Fudd, I should say.
And, the way he draws Joker, I like that take on the Joker. And his Batman is very similar to Jim Lee style. It's really good. It's really good artwork.
Trying to make out heads or tails of what Daffy's saying sometimes, because they do write with the lisp in there. Sometimes it makes it tough.
That was the hard part for me on this one. Is like after a while I had no problem reading it, but then after a while it's like, man, I gotta think a little bit more about the words I'm reading. Yeah. And so it takes me a little bit longer. But other than that, it was a okay book.
Yeah, this one I actually like the second story more, where Gordon has to bring in Daffy to be like, it's basically making fun of Hannibal or Silence of the Lambs, which I thought was a cute little thing.
Yeah, and I love it because they make a lot of really meta jokes in there. That is bashing on DC.
Yeah,
That's
it really is.
Great.
It was. I think they even make like a $3.99 per issue.
Yeah, and then they make like something about like exploiting a 6-issue miniseries or something.
So I think honestly, if you're gonna pick up this book, it should probably be for the secondary story. That's probably about 5 or 6 pages in the back. Plus, it's also drawn a little bit more like the '90s Batman cartoon, mixed with some Daffy Duck in there. So I'm gonna go about 1.75 Porky Bucks for me.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 1.75 as well.
Oh wow,
we are in sync. This one I'm kind of curious on because like I know where my grade's at on this one.
Okay, so the next one is Shattered Grid #1. It's been written by Kyle Higgins, and the art is Danielle DeNicuolo. It's a tough name to say. This one, I gotta say, it started off and I went, okay, great, another Shattered Grid where I don't know who a lot of these Rangers are. I'm not familiar with them, and then it really slows down. It pumps the brakes, and the next thing you know, I don't think it's really any secret. Tommy Oliver, we all knew he was coming back at some point, the Green Ranger, and it takes a step back to bring him into the forefront, and then you kind of get a better understanding of Lord Draken and all this stuff. And I know you haven't been reading Shattered Grid.
Yeah.
I've been reading Mighty Morphin Power Rangers since issue 1. So
way to brag about it, bro.
no, this is one of the few series I've been able to go 30 some issues in with and not fall off of it, and I enjoy that. The art, like always, is great. I think Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the series, has some of the best consistent covers out there. But I actually really enjoyed this one. I was able to get my finger on the pulse of it, whereas I feel like the last few Shattered Grid tie-ins and stuff like that, I could not make heads or tails of what was happening because I'm not familiar with anything other than Mighty Morphin lineup of Rangers. So this was actually a pretty good little book. I enjoyed it a lot, and it's a little cliched towards the end. You get a little bit of this whole, we can do it together as a team because we're family, that kind of whole message, and that doesn't always come across, especially with Power Rangers have been kind of dealing with like heavy action and kind of really weird ideas as far as like Star Trek and stuff. But what I realized is that basically Lord Draken is the Power Rangers equivalent to Thanos. That's exactly what this book is. The Shattered Grid is basically the Infinity Gauntlet for the Power Rangers.
Exactly, yeah. That's the same thing I took from it. Now, as a person who read the first 3 issues of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and stopped getting it, no, it was nothing about like the book not being good or the artwork not being good. I enjoyed both of it. I just never really. I had other things I was wanting to get.
Right.
So I went ahead and took a chance to read this. I have no clue what's going on in Shattered Grid other than I do know the whole Lord Dragon thing because I have to know that working here. But to be honest, I was surprised. I actually really enjoyed it. It makes me want to go back and read the other issues.
It's been a solid series.
Yeah, and I know one thing that's I always kind of debate about getting back into it because the artwork and the covers are amazing.
Yeah,
the covers are just like stellar covers each issue.
If there was, I don't even know, but there might be awards for best covers of the year and stuff. But if there were, I'd have to imagine the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers should be in the conversation.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, it was a great book, and as a person who hasn't read it, it would be a weird place for you to jump in on if you don't know anything about the whole Shattered Grid situation. It'd be kind of weird if you didn't know anything about the Shattered Grid situation. They did make like a viral video to announce
it was cool
the
though.
series. Yeah, it was a cool video. They had Jason Frank back for it, playing Tommy. But no, I really enjoyed it. Get it once again. It's like the Donald or the Daffy Duck. Now you got me fucking up. The Joker and Daffy Duck issue. I mean, you could get it alone just for the artwork. It's worth it for the artwork alone.
Yeah.
But with that being said, I give this one a 3.25.
Wow. Okay, you're going a little higher than I was planning on going, but that's only because it still hasn't gut punched me yet the way I was expecting it to because they made it to be this big event, and I'm going, all right, give it to me, come on, Daddy. But
give it to me, Daddy.
Give it to me, Daddy. But no, the only thing is I'm also confused about the end of this book is that I don't know if this is the end of Shattered Grid. The way they end this book, it goes, okay, it seems like everything's going to be right with this, and they tease the issue 31 of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers at the end, and you're dealing with a character who came in probably about 10 issues or so ago in her team of Rangers before the ones that we know. And I'm like, all right, okay, so Shattered Grid, is it over, or is this going to be a continuation of the series? I'm really not sure. And if this is the way it ends, then to me, it ended with a whimper. And that's my biggest issue with it. So I'm going to go 2.75.
Well, see, I understand how you could do that because I haven't been reading. So to me, this is not a lead-up. This is just me jumping in and reading a book for the first time. So I can understand if there was a lead-up to it, and I felt there was a lead-up to it, and they put out this book, and they had like 500 covers for it, and I was like, oh man, you put up this for a whole year, and then they don't get married. I'd be really pissed off too.
Yeah, it's a good thing the comics don't do that. They always deliver. So
that was a long walk for a small drink of water, Josh. That was a really bad reference and joke.
All right, we're going to move on to Lex Luthor and Porky Pig #1. You got Russell and Fanning on it. I'm so sorry, guys. I should probably have this thing open to the creative team behind it before I go into it. Writer Mark Russell, penciler Brad Walker. Pencils are great. And actually, this book, I got to say, is very politically relevant. And there's a definite allegory going on here that I caught on to early on so I could start making a lot of comparisons and going, wow, this writer is not a fan of Donald Trump. That's all I'll say. Like, he's not a fan of the administration at all, and Lex Luthor is kind of the stand-in for that. But this is not a happy-go-lucky Porky Pig story.
No, it is not.
I was very surprised at the very first issue or two. He's talking about our first page or two. He's basically talking about committing suicide, and I go, holy fuck! All right, I'm in for a very different treatment of Porky Pig here. So, but yeah, this is a really interesting look at the way our world works right now. And to see it kind of splashed in your face like this, just being so obvious, it kind of opens up my eyes and goes, God damn, what the fuck is wrong with people, and what the hell is wrong with a lot of the shit that's going on in our country right now. But Josh, how'd you feel?
I was okay. So I read the Harley Quinn one first. I read the Joker one.
You read it in the exact same order I read it in.
Yeah, and well, except for this one. This was This was your last one. This is my second.
Oh, that's
one,
right. Yeah.
Regardless, I was like, oh man, this is gonna suck. The rest of them suck. I love the Hanna-Barbera ones.
Yeah.
Because they were serious. There was something that they were wanting to achieve at the end.
Right.
Something that was thought provoking. And I was like, man, I really hope this one is at least thought provoking.
I mean, look at the way Porky Pig looks on that cover. It's almost grotesque.
Yeah. And so I flip open and I start reading it. By the second page, I'm like, shit. Okay. So, all right. This is what they're doing to my Porky Pig here.
Yeah.
So it's really good, and it's extremely relatable because, I mean, this whole situation that's going on in this book, the whole problem and conflicts and the way Porky Pig is treated and in the way Lex Luthor is treated, the whole thing is very, like, the situation. You've seen it on the news. You've seen it in front of you. Like, this is a very relatable book, and it's very...
it's very relevant.
It's very relevant and political, and it's damn good.
It is, and I gotta say, I really, if you're looking for something a little bit more traditional Porky Pig, the second story in here is got exactly what you're looking for. Yeah. So I think, as a Porky Pig fan, I think you can get both of those in this one book. So for that, I think it's a good price. But for me, this was my second favorite out of all of the Looney Tune DC crossover books, and I'm going to give this one a 3.25 Porky Bucks.
I'm actually right there with you, 3.25.
And if you guys also want a secret code for 20% off any issue that is not on your pull list this week, come and tell us the code phrase, Lex Luthor is not circumcised. All right, moving on to Scarlet #1 by Brian Michael Bendis and Alex Maleev. And before I read this, Josh said that you said there was a Scarlet series before this one,
yeah,
and
there's
that
multiple ones.
Okay,
yeah.
And I wasn't aware of that, and so you were kind of curious about how I'd feel about it, kind of going in, not having read that stuff. And they do a decent little job of giving this little paragraph on the front inside cover to kind of catch you up on where things are. And so, okay, I understand the world that I'm living in now, and I go and I read it, and I'm like, this is Bendis's best work yet. Since he's left Marvel, to me, this is his best work yet. I don't want to give away the premise of this book, but it is introspective, it is relevant, it offers a really good voice to, I think, how a lot of people feel internally and cerebrally. I think there's something in here that we all as readers can relate to. And it also is utilizing technology, but it's also got a message behind it that I'm like, holy shit, I think I've thought about that in the back of my mind, but I've never put two and two together to acknowledge it in the forefront, to basically say that this country that we live in is no better than when we first settled here. It's never gotten better. It's just changed, and the only thing that's really changed is technology. And it's something that I know I've spoken to you about at length before, and probably talked your ear off, and basically saying our technology has progressed so quickly, we have not done that as a human species, so we've never learned to use it responsibly. But this book touches on that really well, and I gotta give it to Bendis. This is definitely his best work since he's left Marvel.
I agree. When you start thinking about everything that he's done for DC and his new Jinx World imprint, there's really not a whole lot. I mean, his Superman run, his Action Comics run is good.
It's
good.
Middling.
It's kind of going up and down, at times. Man of Steel was a great little prelude to both those titles. Pearl was vague.
Yeah,
at best.
that one didn't sell me yet.
It wasn't a good first issue. Like, if you're a buyer and you're somebody coming in, it's not one that you're going to want. It's not going to grab you.
No.
This one will grab you. And it's nice, and I was just kind of curious, because when I'm reading it, I'm like, okay, I understand this, because I've read Scarlet before.
Mm-hmm.
And so I understand what's going on here. But I was also kind of worried, like, if somebody's a new reader, like, are they going to understand? Are they going to be able to relate to this and pick it up? But then, that's why I was wanting you to read it as well, because I was just kind of wanting to know your opinion on it, because I know you haven't read any Scarlet.
No, I think this is a great entry point for anybody who's not read any previous Scarlet material.
Yeah, it's good. I like it, and one thing I do really enjoy is when Bendis starts doing his writings, that you can tell it's just actually it's not so much of him writing a story as much as it is him just writing down his thoughts.
Yes.
He is, when he is writing down a lot of Scarlet's dialogue that's going on and on, it's not so much of him writing for the story as much as it's him just thinking and just writing what's come to his head, like as if this is his diary.
I was about to say this is like a picture journal for him.
Exactly.
And you hit on exactly what I wanted to say. This feels like a passion project. Yeah. This feels like something Bendis is very passionate about, and it comes through in his writing. But I also think when he teams up with Maleev, there's just gold. Gold is just made. You know what I mean? I think Maleev really brings something out of Bendis, and I think Bendis actually brings something out of Maleev. Maleev's artistic style in here is it's changed. It's a little bit more refined than I'm used to, and I like it. But it also, as we were talking about, really almost makes me confused as who am I watching, or who am I reading? Whose art am I looking at? Is it Maleev or Gatos? You know, because their art style seems so similar, because this is a very much a cleaner look than if you were to look at like Bendis and Maleev's Daredevil run. Yeah,
which and then I told you, like, well, if you think about it, when we were reading Pearl, we were sitting here going like, is this Gatos or Maleev? Like, it's like as if they traded styles there for a little bit.
But I gotta say, out of today, this is one of my favorites. Actually, these last three that we've got are my three favorites of this episode. So this one I'm going to give a 3.5 to. I'm giving it a solid 3.5. I'm almost wanting to give it a 3.75, but I'm looking at the other ones that I enjoyed a little more. No, you know what? Fuck it. No, 3.75 Porky Bucks. I got to do it, man. Yeah, right. I really, really liked it, and I'm for sure picking that book up this week.
Yeah, it's I'm giving it a 3.5.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to, because I also want to go back and read the other Scarlet, which I have it in single issue.
Let me borrow that sometime.
All right, we'll do.
All right, guys, we're going to move on to Catwoman, Tweety, and Sylvester. Easily, if you ask me and Josh, I'd say the best DC Looney Tunes crossover here. This is such a weird premise. Like, I don't want to give it away, but the premise is really weird. I will say Clarion the Witch Boy comes in at the beginning, and you're like, okay, what the fuck am I in for here, you know? Yeah. But Sylvester's great, Tweety's great, Catwoman's great, and you get a lot of Black Canary, something I was not.
I want to say that's the one thing that irritates me about this book is it's not a Catwoman, Tweety, and Sylvester. It's actually more of it's like Catwoman, Black Canary, Sylvester, and Tweety. Yeah,
and I will say we got to say that Gail Simone is the writer on here. Since we were talking about this, she's been surprising us between like this and Plastic Man and. I think one other title I can't think of right now.
Well, I know that
she was doing something for Marvel.
I enjoy Domino. I've been enjoying Domino right now.
Okay, maybe that's what it was. But yeah, anyway, Gail Simone's on the writing, and the art is Inaki Miranda, and the art's great too. I mean, it's beautifully drawn.
I love this art.
Yeah. So basically, what you're getting here is just a lot of fun. You get a lot of great cameos, a lot of good characters. Tweety is hysterical. That to me, it's the standout of this issue. I think Tweety is fucking hilarious in this book, and I haven't watched Looney Tunes in so long that it made me forget how much I love that little fucking bird.
It's a great bird. I don't understand how anybody can.
But I also love the artistic renditions of them in the book.
Yeah, they look. It's a realistic yellow bird and a realistic black and white cat.
An alley cat.
Yeah, an alley cat. Yeah. I was really skeptical on it. Like when we were looking and ordering these books, I thought that the Joker and Daffy Duck book might be a little bit better.
Right.
And man, I read this, or when I was reading this, I was like, within like the first 5 pages, I was like, Yeah, I'm getting this book this week. I'm going to get it. I wasn't planning on it, but the artwork's great. Simone's doing a great job. I'm loving this concept with Black Canary, Catwoman.
Yeah,
and
the whole bird and cat thing.
Yeah, the bird and cat thing.
Something I would have never thought about. And then they bring in even more bird and cat themed characters. Yeah. And I go, this is just too cool. This is just
so
too much fun.
And I mean, they kind of dig a little deep with it, too.
They do.
With some of the characters.
And one thing I did like, too, is Gail Simone finds a great way to incorporate the classic I taught, putty tat kind of thing.
Oh, yeah, it didn't feel forced.
Succotash. No, but the thing is, it was cleverly worked in, too.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it was cleverly worked in, and it didn't feel forced. Like, she made the jokes, unlike with the Joker and Daffy and the Harley Quinn, and those felt forced, like all the jokes, even if it wasn't something that was referencing, something that's canon in the DC universe or meta or anything like that. It didn't. Those felt forced. It felt natural.
It did, and I just realized Lou Pacino. That's the artist on the cover.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So it's a great cover.
All right, guys. Another thing too is the secondary story in this book. Awesome. It's a great little story. Yeah. Again, it feels like 90s DC animated mixed with the Looney Tunes. It's a lot of fun. I got to give this book a solid 4.0 Porky Bucks.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn, I hate this when we start getting on this pattern where we're both on the same thing.
Yeah, we should. Yeah. We usually butt heads.
Yeah, okay, I'm going to, you know what? Fuck you. 4.01 Porky Bucks.
Shit. All right. It's a dick measuring contest now.
Yeah, it is.
All right, and we're going to move on to our last issue from Aftershock Comics. It's Beyonders #1 by Paul Jenkins and Wesley St. Clair. And if you guys know Paul Jenkins, he also did the Sentry storyline from Marvel years back, which was incredible. Now Lemire is doing Sentry. It's funny because this kind of feels like it could be a little bit of a Lemire book. But this book is everything I didn't know I wanted from a fucking comic book, dude. Because you're talking to a guy who I love watching, not anymore, but the old Ancient Alien stuff. I used to love conspiracy theories. Even if I don't buy into them, they're just so interesting to read. They tantalize my brain.
Yeah.
And so when this is basically about a guy who's just taking all these different real life conspiracies and things, and trying to make sense of it. How are they all connected? And it's something I've always asked myself. I'm like, there's lost knowledge out there. All the shit I have questions about, at some point in time, somebody knew what it was. Somebody had the fucking answer to it. And so he's kind of, he's this character who also shares the same name as I do, which is weird. And he also has an Aunt Karen. This is so weird.
Conspiracy.
He's trying to find the answers to these conspiracy theories or just these mysteries that occur in our world. And it's just so awesome, and I cannot wait for the next issue. I am so excited about this next issue. I'm absolutely picking this book up.
Yeah, you already know, because I got done reading it and I flipped it over and I'm like, I'm putting this on my pull. I'm gonna start pulling this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is great. Everything about it. I love the art style because I like that kind of that not conventional comic book art style.
Something that you would find accompanying Lemire's books.
Yes. And the story was great. It's interesting. It's thought provoking. It also leaves you on a little bit of a cliffhanger.
Oh, absolutely.
It feels very cinematic as well. It feels like this is something I can see on a TV show or a movie. Wink, wink. So, I'm just telling you. I'm trying to give people a heads up.
I also have to say I love the narration style in this. I love that he is talking to us as the reader.
Yeah, I love that too. And how he's going. At first, I thought he was it was supposed to be him recording a video or something.
Yeah.
But then I realized what it is just him thinking, asking these questions in his head, but asking them as if he's asking somebody else.
Right.
And
us as the reader.
Yeah, us as the reader. And I loved it. I love his dog, the corgi.
Yeah. Shadwell.
Yeah, Shadwell.
Yeah.
It's Shadwell has one eye, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If I ever
corgi with one eye, guys.
If I ever get a corgi, I'm calling it Shadwell. But yeah, guys, this is an absolute recommendation from me. I think, Josh, you would.
I absolutely. Yeah.
If this 100%. If this is right up your alley.
To be honest, I'm also thinking that we should order a few more just for to have in the shop.
Maybe.
I feel like this is going to be something that it's going to be pretty big.
Yeah, I gotta say, you guys, if you are interested in the mystery behind the pyramids of Giza, if you're interested in UFO type things, if you're interested in alien abductions or the Baghdad batteries, if you've watched all that kind of stuff or you've read up on it, this thing is totally for you. And I can't express how much I love this book. I'm going 4.75 Porky Bucks.
Okay. Yeah, 4.5. I'm gonna go 4.5. I'm tired of me and you lining up.
So you only do that just to not line up?
Well, because I don't want it to be like the same thing over and over again. Because I like in my head, I'm like, I'm gonna give 4.75, but like we keep lining up, so I'm trying to change my numbers a little bit. But to be honest, 4.5 for the podcast, 4.75 if you come in the store and ask me.
Okay. All right, guys. Well, that is all we have for you today. We really appreciate you listening. We hope that you listened this far. And if you haven't checked out the Marvel one already, we have slaved away for you on that one as well. So that should definitely be up on the channel. If you've already listened to that, then we will see you guys next week. But make sure you like, comment, share this with your friends if they're into comic books, and most of all, guys, subscribe to the channel. That way you can get new early comic book reviews every week.
Yeah. That's all, folks.
Take care.